Hello, you sexy motherfuckers, and welcome again to another video. I'm Base Jalarin, and I'm here to suffer with you tonight, because finally, after waiting almost, I think it's been a year since I've done one of these, it's finally time to return to hell, and hell is Yubisaki milk tea, the one manga no one gives a shit about, so nobody will care if I shit all over this particular title that I hate so much that I have a passion for it, and that's why it's still around here and ready to be shot upon. So let's just get right on into it. Let's just hop right the fuck on in and suffer like we enjoy doing here on my channel. We just love to suffer. So the suffering begins on a trip to the hot springs, because you can't have manga without a hot springs episode, and boy, does Yubisaki milk tea deliver on having a hot springs episode. The most tepid hot springs episode ever. And we enter with Yoshinori feeling like crap, because after an entire volume of going on pity date after pity date after pity date with Hidari, to not make her feel better, to make himself feel better, and making out with Hot Pants Minamo, after all this bullshit, after trying to break off things with her, he feels bad, like, oh man, big fucking surprise, dude. And he reflects upon making out with Minamo, and he feels incredibly bad. And then he pops a boner, because, I mean, when we feel bad, we just pop boners, I fucking guess. And he just bemoans being a dude, like that's the thing that's driving him to be an awful person and not just who he is as a dude. The reason why he's a shitty person is because he's a man, not because he's a shitty person. You can be a shitty person and still be a woman, Yoshinori. But, you know, sure, fine, whatever. And then we have this scene, a brief scene, in like the game room of this hot spring where Hidari and Yoshinori play a game of table tennis, and Yoshinori catches a glimpse of Hidari's little preteen titties, which I didn't appreciate, but he sure did. And the lesbian Kagame, who I will refer to as the lesbian because that's her name now, sees this. She obviously like catches the vibes, but she says nothing, because this whole volume, Kagame, who's usually the voice of reason and my favorite character, drops the ball constantly and plays into this awful fucking plot instead of being the one person in this manga with sense. Like, she fucking betrays me this entire fucking time. So after catching a glimpse of Hidari's tit, we have a parallel scene between Hidari and Yoshinori's sister and Hidari's dad. But the scene between Yoshinori's sister and Hidari's dad doesn't really matter. It just sort of plays parallel to what the fuck's going on with Hidari and Yoshinori, which some bullshit's about to go down with Hidari and Yoshinori. And what I'm saying is, Hidari comes into Yoshinori's bedroom late at night at the hot spring, and she asks if he's asleep, and he's all like, no, I'm very much awake, so she just kind of hangs out there. And then she strips. She just takes off her clothes and exposes herself to Yoshinori, and she says, I'm not a child anymore, which has been Hidari's whole shtick for most of the manga, is proving that she's like a woman, which no, you're not. You're in middle school, a little far off the beaten path from being an adult, but that's her shtick, that's her bag. She wants to be an adult. She does not want to be viewed as a child so that she can romance piece of bullshit Yoshinori, because apparently she sees something in him that I don't. And I'm about to see less of him. I'm about to feel a lot less about him, except for hatred. Come the next chapter, where Hidari has successfully seduced Yoshinori, and they're about to get down to some business. He lies her down on the bed. I'm screaming internally because I don't want this to happen. it hurts so much to see this. It's framed as being like romantic and like sensual, but the entire time I'm just like holding back nausea. And I'm skipping over the scene with Yoshinori's sister and Hidari's dad because I don't give a shit about either of them, but I care about what's happening now with Yoshinori and Hidari, where Hidari kind of gets cold feet because yeah, you're a fucking middle schooler and you're about to attempt to engage in sexual activity with this dude who you've been crushing on for years, and you're probably gonna be like, wait, this is a bad idea, which she does. She gets cold feet and tells him, wait, you're scaring me. She starts off with telling him no and says, you're scaring me, when he attempts to take off her panties. Well, he pants and begs her to let him see. And she's like, no, that's embarrassing. And she tells him no over and over again. Multiple panels of Hidari telling him and then screaming at him no. And she pushes him away, and you'd think a sensible man, after being screamed at no and then being pushed away in the midst of a sexual act, would be like, oh, well, she don't want this dick, so let's stop. She doesn't want to. But this motherfucker, this piece of shit, the main character of whom we are meant to sympathize with, tells her, after she pushes him off of her, I can't stop now, and proceeds to force himself upon her while she screams. And thankfully, Kagame does the one solid in this manga by showing up. She's been outside the entire time, by the way. Like, she's been listening in this whole time and finally decided to now show up after Hidari was crying out no and pushing him away. She shows up as Yoshinori's forcing himself upon her. And she stops the deed. Thank the fucking God we don't actually get a rape scene in this manga, because that's the last thing we need in Yubisaki Milk Tea, is a rape scene, just to pepper in some awful fucking flavor. So she comes in, and this bitch, this is what I mean when I say that Kagame starts like becoming a puppet to the plot instead of like a character of whom I love and adore and is the voice of reason. She comes in, slaps Hidari, and tells her, it's your fault. Just, oh my God, no! It's not her fault! Oh my God, it's not her fault. But she comes in, she slaps Hidari across the face, and even though fucking Mister can't control his penis over here, tried to force himself upon her, even though Hidari told him multiple times over and over again, she has changed her mind. No, it's Hidari's fault. Like, fuck you, Kagame. I trusted you. So they just kind of leave, and Yoshinori just kind of sits there all catatonic because, oh no, somebody interrupted my rape. And we have a scene between Kagame and Hidari where Hidari realizes that she didn't know that Yoshinori could be so brutal, and that she was embarrassed and scared, and oh my fucking God. And just, Jesus fucking Christ. And then we cut to Yoshinori looking like fucking brooding as he looks out at the ocean. And he's thinking like, oh man, I thought I was supposed to protect Hidari. From whom? Yourself? You were supposed to protect Hidari from your weird lustful urges that you apparently can't control in the heat of the moment? It's Jesus fucking Christ, dude. You just need to stop interacting with her. That's the only way you can protect her, is to get the fuck away from her, because I fucking hate you. And I'm pretty sure Hidari has every right to fucking hate you, but of course she doesn't, because this manga lives to make me suffer. And Kagame shows up and kind of jokes with him and pretends to push him into the ocean, which goddamn, she should have pushed him into the ocean. And instead she decides to have a heart-to-heart chat with this dude who attempted to sexually assault her best friend and or romantic interest, depending on the day. And Jesus fucking Christ, I hate this so goddamn much. they actually have like a nice conversation about how she tells him about the one time that Hidari was all like, only Nori-kun can touch me, only Nori-kun can make me cry. And she talks about how that's when she realized that Hidari's heart could not be won over, that she could not be with Hidari, and that just fucking makes me so upset. Just, this girl who's talking about like, oh man, I don't care what this horrible, awful guy who I grew up with, I don't care what the fuck he does to me, or how much he makes me cry. He's the only one who can do it. That's the thing that made her give up, and that just frustrates the shit out of me. Everything about this is making me pissed. And all she does is just verbally berate him, and that's it. That's all she does. That's all that fucking happens. And I'm so mad. I'm so pissed. And best thing about that is that we have this span of time in the book where Yoshinori kind of goes around in fucking literary circles thinking about how I've hurt Hidari. Oh, I love Minamo, but I don't want to hurt Hidari. I don't want to hurt these two women in my life. What am I gonna do? And it's just him moaning and just bitching the entire time, like he didn't attempt to rape a girl. No, it's not, oh man, I couldn't control my urges, I'm a horrible person. He's like, oh man, who am I gonna fuck? I hate it. And there's this span about like this long in this book where it's this side story that's happening parallel to him feeling bad about himself with the soccer club's manager and his best friend Wataru, about how she's got a crush on Wataru, but Wataru has a crush on Yoshinori's female persona Yuki, who he doesn't know is Yoshinori. And it becomes like this sort of side plot to try and hook Wataru up with the soccer team manager. And let me tell you, it goes absolutely bumfuck nowhere, and the book acknowledges this. The book acknowledges that it wasted all of our time. This is like maybe a third of the book, maybe even more, and it wasted all of our time with this subplot of trying to hook Wataru and the manager up, because at the very end, Yoshinori attempts to talk some sense into Wataru, who thinks that the gift that the manager gave to him was from Yuki, and she's all upset. So Yoshinori, dressed as Yuki, has to go confront Wataru, and Wataru is not having it, even though she tells him up front that the manager gave him, like, I think it was about shin guards, and she literally says, like, oh man, she's got a crush on you, and Wataru's like, I don't care, I love you, Yuki, and she keeps on telling him no. I'm not like, oh man, if you knew the real me, you would hate me. Which, yes, as a reader of this manga, I can concur that yes, if you know the real Yoshinori, you will fucking hate him. Fucking God. And he's using this as a means to feel sorry for himself while he's refusing Wataru. Like, oh man, all men are just lustful monsters, and all they want is ass. That's all they want. They're all perverts. Like, decrying all men after you accidentally, whoopsie daisy, couldn't control myself, almost raped my best friend. It's the fault of all men, because the nature of man is to be a pervert, is apparently Yoshinori's line of thinking, and it makes me so fucking mad that he's blaming all men for the fact that he cannot control his penis, that he cannot control his urges. It's because, oh man, all dudes, just bad. Just all men bad. Whoopsie. And he's using Wataru's insistence of trying to hook up with Yuki, as proof positive of the fact that all men are perverts and this is a bad thing. And then Wataru, which here to ruin my day, Wataru, comes up, and Yuki calls him a pervert, and she pushes him away, which is just weird parallel to the rape scene, attempted rape scene. Wataru says, well, what's wrong with boys being perverts? And this is a fucking breakthrough, apparently. This triggers a breakthrough in Yoshinori. The entire third of the book, where he moaned and brooded over the fact that, oh, I'm a nasty pervert because I'm a man, and I keep hurting the women I love, and I keep on seeing hot pants Minamo while I think about how much I hurt Hidari. Like, that's going to actually hurt her less. It's actually going to hurt her more, Yoshinori. Holy shit. But, the entire time, he's just feeling so bad about himself, so bad about the fact that, oh, I'm such a horrible person, woe is me. He doesn't think once, oh man, poor fucking Hidari, she has it bad. One word, one sentence from Wataru, where it's like, what's wrong with being a pervert? Yoshinori's like, you know what? What is wrong with being a pervert? Nothing's wrong with being a pervert. Every single part of me that possibly could have regretted the fact that I almost sexually assaulted my best friend, out the fucking window. I don't care anymore. I feel so much better now that I know that there's nothing wrong with being a pervert. Thank you, Wataru. Thanks. And then he kisses him as a reward, and that's it. And then at the very end of this chapter, the manager, the soccer team manager, the start of this entire fucking arc, this itty-bitty little mini-plot, side story, she doesn't show up after that. She doesn't make an appearance afterward. She just disappears, even though the entire part of this weird tangent was trying to get her to hook up with Wataru. And the fact that Wataru thinking that Yuki was the one sending him all these gifts was a mistake, and she was trying to get him to notice that, oh, the soccer team manager loves you. She doesn't get to show up again. She's just pushed off to the wayside, so Yoshinori can have his breakthrough that all men are perverts. Oh my god. Brain blast. And as he's walking home with Minamo, she asks him, what about your promise to that manager girl about convincing Takatsuki, because that's Wataru's last name. And Yoshinori's like, oh, I forgot. That's it. That's the respect we pay this girl who we were trying to help for the last third of the book. Was, oh, just completely forgot about her. Got sort of distracted by the fact that I had a breakthrough about being a pervert. Whoopsie daisy. I just, fuck, god damn it, I hate Yoshinori so much. Oh my god. But we're about to go into a Hidari-centric side plot, which is a little less awful, but you get to see from Hidari's point of view how Hidari feels. And Hidari is constantly missing the mark. She's constantly, like, blaming herself for the awful bullshit that Yoshinori puts her through. And it's like, Hidari, you were so close. You were so close to realizing that the guy that you are lusting after is an awful fucking person, but you keep on blaming yourself, and it's this constant torture for me to watch this happen, but I get to because we gotta get through this fucking manga. And at the very beginning, she asks Kagame to, like, tease her, and we get, like, this scene where they're, like, in the nurse's office, and Kagame starts taking off Hidari's clothes, and they start kissing, and then Hidari's all like, oh, well, that confirms it. I'm not afraid when you try to fuck me. And she's all upset that she could not go through with fucking Yoshinori. And she's all fucking upset that she is not afraid that Kagame is advancing on her. And I feel like there was a point here, and the point over here was that you're not afraid when Kagame does shit with you, romancy, sexual shit with you. The breakthrough could have been, oh, well, I'm not afraid of my best friend who appears to actually fucking love me. Maybe there's something there. Maybe this is a sign. But no, instead she's all like, oh, fuck, I wish I was a grown-up. Instead, like, that's a sign, like, oh man, I'm not afraid of when you make sexual advances on me. It must be because I'm still a child. And, God damn it. And then there's this brief scene where she races against, like, the track and field, like, or is she the soccer? Oh, no, she's part of the soccer team. The soccer team president or something, and she almost beats her in a race. And she has this moment where she reflects on the fact that she used to have all these aspirations and all these, like, goals, and she used to, like, do, like, karate, and she used to play soccer, and she wanted to do all these things, but then her mom died, and she gave them all up so she could be at home with her dad. And that's honestly really tragic, is that apparently we've learned throughout this entire manga that Hidari is actually a really smart person, and that she's very athletic, and that she used to have all of these, like, passions, but she gave them all up so that she could help her father around the house after the death of her mother. And you're distracted from how much you fucking hate this manga for a second by the fact that, oh, this is very sad. But then she has a breakthrough where she's all like, I want to pursue something. I found a potential passion, and I want to go after it. I found something that I love, and I want to achieve it. And she signs up for soccer club. She gets, like, the application to join the soccer club. And there's this very weirdly uncomfortable scene with her dad where she takes a bath with her dad, and it's framed just a little too sexually. Like, it kind of goes off the deep end from being like, oh, cute familial bathing time, to her being all like, do I look like mom while her tits are in the frame? And it's like, this manga has this weird thing where, on top of being awful and on top of trying to be like a sports manga sometimes, tries to, like, do the incest thing, which did not need to happen, but it tries to just titillate that reader source, which do not, like, that should just be the rule. Do not stop that. Just stop. But, so, from Hidari's point of view, we get to see Yoshinari from Hidari's point of view at this point. And it just makes me mad, because it's the scene where she goes to Yoshinari after she's gotten permission from her dad to join the soccer club. He's like, yes, you should go join the soccer club. I don't care how much it costs. You should go, and you should do the things you love. Like, good job, great dad. Love him. Actually, you're the best character in this manga now. Fuck Kagame. You're the best character now, daddy. But then she goes over to Yoshinori's house, which takes some fucking balls on her part, considering the last time they spoke, he tried to rape her. But let's go over to his house anyway and try to see how he feels about you joining the soccer team. So she goes over, and she's like, I've decided to join the soccer team, and she's all fucking nervous about it. And Yoshinori, instead of being like, oh yeah, you should totally join the soccer team, go for it, your passions are your own, your goals are your own, go off and do your thing. Yoshinori berates her for wanting to join the soccer team and tells her that it's going to get in the way of your studies, you shouldn't join the soccer team, and he just puts her down and tells her no, like he has a say. And he's like, your grades have been improving, you should concentrate on studying for entrance exams. Like, you're not her dad. You're not even her family. You're just the dude who lives next door who she bathed with a little bit as a kid. And for some ungodly reason, she still wants to bone, despite the fact that you're a fucking awful person. But finally, Hidari, like, makes a breakthrough, and after reflecting on the fact, the one scene where she's like, I'm Yoshinori's toy, which I fucking hated, by the way, she tells him, I'm not your plaything. And after telling her, no, Hidari, you shouldn't join the soccer team because your grades will slip, and I'm in control of everything you do because I'm older and wiser, and I tried to rape you once, He's like, oh yeah, you should totally do what you want. And it's all like, very big abusive vibes coming from Yoshinori, which are actually reflected upon, where we cut back to Yoshinori, and he's lurking in the distance while Hidari's playing soccer with her team, And the reason why he told her don't join the soccer club was because he was afraid that he did not want to see her legs get all scarred and bruised. That is why he didn't want her to join the soccer team, because then she would ruin her perfect little pretty girl legs, and that would make her less attractive to him, which goes from weird, you're not her parental figure, you don't gotta worry about her grades, to fucking gross, because he doesn't want to join the soccer team because, she'll be less pretty with her legs all bruised and scarred, and I want her to be perfect and pretty, even though I'm constantly playing with this girl's emotions and making her cry and making her life miserable by being a romantic interest for her. And then Minamo, who's also there, reacts to this. And I'm going to read you her inner monologue because it's fucking weird. Oh, this guy. He would gladly cut the wings off a bird just so it could never fly free. He scares me. But I'm hopelessly attracted to him. She just listened to this dude say, I told my childhood friend not to join soccer because I'm afraid she'll get bruises on her legs, and she is mine, and she is my property, and I don't want her getting ruined because she's mine. And she listened to this, and she's like, oh, fuck, he's hot. Oh, I want to jump his bones. And just, what the fuck? I don't even know or want to know. Looking at this last chapter, oh god. And all the last chapter is that Minamo and Yoshinori have this sort of saucy photo shoot where he wears her middle school uniform and they flirt. After a whole volume of Yoshinori being like, I've hurt Hidari. Oh, I'm a horrible person, I've hurt her. Oh, I keep playing with her emotions. And then he flirts with Minamo for the laughs, I guess. But just fuck. I hate this manga. I hate its main character. I know in the past I was all like, Minamo is my least favorite character, I hate Minamo. But you know what? Minamo is kind of blameless. She's just kind of weird, socially awkward girl who... Oh, fuck! I forgot there was this one scene in the middle of the long third of the book that didn't matter, where they're talking to Wataru, and Wataru's like, so, are you two going out? And they're like, it's complicated. And then, in order to try and explain their relationship, all Minamo says is, he grabbed my boobs, which is literally their relationship. He grabbed her titties and she cried, and that was the beginning of this blooming romance, which goes to show the kind of fucking weird bullshit this manga attempts to pass off as being romantic. But yeah, I know I said that Minamo was like my least favorite character and I hated her because she was a homewrecker. I hate Yoshinori, actually. I'm making a solid stance on that. I actually hate this man and I hate this manga. And I honestly forget what happens in Volume 5. I completely forgot about the almost rape in Volume 4 last time I did one of these. So maybe Volume 5 just makes things a lot more worse. So, but we'll see. We'll see in like, what, half a year from now when I decide to venture into Volume 5 and ruin my mental health for the day because I fucking hate this shit. But yeah, that was it. That was my review. Not really a review, it was more like a rant about Yubisaki Milk Tea Volume 4. I'm glad you all stuck around this long to see this video, which I'm sure everybody follows me for, is my weird series where I talk about a manga that nobody knows or cares about. But yeah, that's it for today. I will see you sexy motherfuckers in the next video, whenever that may be. Probably not going to be another Yubisaki Milk Tea rant, because I can't do these in a consecutive manner. They gotta be months apart. But whatever that is, whatever I wind up doing next, I'll see you guys later. So yeah, ta-ta. Sorry. This video's so bad. Oh god.